Two locals are behind bars and nearly 24 animals rescued from inhumane conditions following a Monday morning investigation. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, 2 Lyman residents are in custody and nearly 24 dogs have been rescued after authorities investigated reports of squalid conditions in a trailer west of Scottsbluff. 45-year-old J.D. Sims and 40-year-old Sedania Sims were arrested by deputies yesterday morning on 21 counts of cruelty to animals. The investigation began when the Scottsbluff County Sheriff's Department received information of several dogs locked in a camper trailer located at Captain Critter's Country Campground. Deputies and investigators serving a warrant recovered 21 dogs of various breeds that were locked in cages with no food or water, laying in their own urine and feces. The dogs were secured and transported to the Panhandle Humane Society, where they have been given full examination, treatment, and received baths. The Sims are scheduled to be arraigned on the charges tomorrow in Scottsbluff County Court. Well, an Oshkosh man arrested in November following a reported drive-by shooting and standoff was arraigned on dozens of charges yesterday morning in Garden County District Court. 55-year-old Henry Schuff is facing 27 Class 1D felony charges of possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. Schuff's vehicle was located at a residence following the alleged drive-by shooting call, and he had barricaded himself in the home until nearly 5 a.m. Thanksgiving morning. On Monday, Schuff was formally arraigned on the charges before District Judge Derek Weimer. He's slated to be back in court April 1st for a bond review hearing. And representatives of the companies behind a proposed commercial-scale solar project in southwestern Scottsbluff County will hold a second public forum this week. Scott Ickes with the Satula Solar Energy Project will be joined by 2 DOT Consulting Senior Project Manager Ethan Jonke discussing various aspects of the proposal this evening in Morrill. Among topics to be addressed will be the impact on county roads, decommissioning at the end of the facility's life cycle, and tax revenue that will flow to local governments every year. The open house will be at Morrill Elementary School from 5 to 7 p.m. We'll have more news right after this.
The journey of a dream becoming reality. When we're young, a dream develops into a passion. That passion continues to manifest and grows as you do. It becomes all you want to do and all you want to be. It gives you direction. It drives you. Then your dream has become a reality. When that dream is ready to be reality, Platte Valley Bank will be with you every step of the way.
Benzel Pest Control has been the Wyoming and Nebraska area's most committed professional pest control company. We have 4 generations and nearly 50 years of experience serving Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado, as well as certified entomologists on staff. So whether you're dealing with spiders, wasps, rodents, or any other unwanted visitors, give Benzel Pest Control a call today for an estimate at 888-229-2128 or visit our website at benzelpestcontrol.com.
Welcome back. The Alliance City Council meets tonight, and a handful of citizens have gotten on the agenda to speak on a hot topic issue for residents. 30 minutes has been allocated for Karen Trussell, Tamara Wood, Jeff Schneider, Tim Smith, Spencer Sanchez, and Joshua Trussell to speak before the Alliance City Council regarding the hiring of the police chief. Last month, it was announced that David Levitt of Nashville, Tennessee, had been hired. However, a 2021 Nashville NPR article has been circulating stating that Levitt was disciplined by Nashville Metro for sexual harassment, but was allowed to retire in good standing. Only the 6 residents who formally requested to speak will be able to do so. The City Council is scheduled to meet at 7 p.m. in the Alliance Learning Center. And the City of Mitchell held a special City Council meeting Thursday night and voted to not renew their contract with Nebraska Public Power District, which currently runs for another 12 months. Sandra Hendren is the city's representative of the Municipal Energy Agency of Nebraska for the Board of Public Works, and said she felt the city is paying too much with NPPD. Mean has already contacted the city of Gering and said they'd be willing to help Mitchell if needed. Councilmember Stephen Lacey wanted to make sure that Mitchell would still be covered in terms of electrical maintenance and outages, while Councilmember Gary Ritterbusch wanted to see more numbers regarding Mean's contract. After much discussion, the council unanimously voted to deny reviewing their NPPD contract and will soon begin the process of bidding for a replacement power contract.
It takes a community to keep our waters clean. Please don't let pollutants be swept and carried away into our storm drains. This can cause problems like clogged storm sewers and contaminating the area's rivers, lakes, and ponds. Non-point source pollutants are not from one source or property, but instead from many sources and properties, which can impair our waterways. Even one piece of trash can add up. Tri-City Stormwater wants you to remember, it's our water, our responsibility.
Renewal by Andersen makes the best replacement windows and patio doors you can get, and they're among the best investments you can make in your home right now. Mortgage interest rates have doubled in just the last year. People are renovating their homes rather than moving. Renewal by Andersen windows and patio doors are a fantastic investment. Great tax incentives right now, 5-star energy rated, significantly cut your energy bills, and make your home much more valuable in a buyer's market. Snap that QR code, visit rbawyoming.com right now to start the conversation.
This is KNEB.TV Ag News from the Scottsbluff Body and Paint Ag Desk. Scottsbluff Body and Paint, you're driving home our reputation.
It's been a cold and in many places snowy winter thus far. Combine that with the drought that we faced in 2022, and now hay inventory is becoming a challenge for some producers. Market Journal's Mike Straub recently asked a Nebraska Extension educator about the hay situation and some of the extra costs that producers can expect to pay.
With the cost of feed and production on the rise, as well as the drought situation, you may need to purchase hay to provide feed for your animals. Outside of sticker price, there are other important aspects to consider before bringing hay from a new seller or area onto your operation.
This year has been a dry year. We've had decreased production for a lot of feedstuffs. Costs have been up. Hay prices are up as well, but sometimes we just need to have something to feed our animals, especially with the recent weather that we've had across the state. We've had a couple of really heavy snows, we've had really cold temperatures, and sometimes we just need something to get to those animals. That way we have a calf crop this year and we're able to rebreed for next year. And so, anytime that we are facing a shortage or a gap, that's one of the options, right away that we need to go look at is, before we start selling off animals, can we balance it the other way by bringing some feed resources onto our place? And that's, one of those things that, the reason for this interview is when we start to do that, we're talking a lot of times, we look at the sticker price of that. How much is it going to cost me for my pocketbook? But there's some additional costs a lot of times that can come with bringing hay onto our place that we need to be aware of.
Making sure that hay you're purchasing is being tested is highly recommended. There are many factors that can affect the quality of the product, even when the hay is from the same field and harvested at the same time of the year.
Testing hay is going to be a recommendation across the board. A A lot of times, if we are purchasing from a hay broker or somebody who's sold hay in the past, they might have that hay test done ahead of time for you, and that's just a good faith effort on their part. Hay is never going to be the exact same every single year in a row. We might harvest it at the exact same date from the exact same field, and there's going to be differences depending on precipitation, depending on just the temperatures and things that year, maybe a little bit of what we have for species makeup, the maturity of the plants. We're going to have swings. We could have up to a 5% difference in crude protein content sometimes in some of our hays, and that can make a really big difference even though it's the same hay harvested off the same field. And so getting that hay test just ensures us that we know what we're actually purchasing. Because it does make a difference if we're buying, prairie hay that's at 5% crude protein versus 9%. How we feed that, who we're feeding that to, how that fits into our operation makes a big difference. And so we don't necessarily want to be purchasing 5% crude protein hay for the same thing that we're going to be purchasing, a little bit higher quality hay. And a lot of times, you can look at the hay visually and get a good assessment of which way it's going to trend, but that's not always, a surefire answer. So getting that hay test is really important.
The possibility of bringing invasive plants, insects, and rodents onto your operation should be considered. Being aware of the risk and a thorough inspection of the hay can ensure a quality purchase. A right of refusal with your provider should be put in place.
It's always really important if we are getting a load of hay in to make sure that we're inspecting it and to also just be aware of some of those risks that we might be, bringing on. Where is this hay coming from? What are maybe some of the risk factors in that area? If we're bringing it from a long ways away, we've got some invasive species that we might have some concerns about. Whether that's, North and South Dakota have had a steady creep of absinthe wormwood that's been coming down into Nebraska. We saw a really big, increase in that after 2019 and some of the flooding spread some of those seeds around, and some of that actually came in before that during some of the drought years in 2012. We're purchasing hay, we get it fed out, that seed's in that hay, and all of a sudden it's established onto our operation. So just being aware of what some risks might be, so that way when you look at that hay, we can say, this looks a little bit iffy. We need to keep an eye on it. If we can, retaining that right to refuse hay if it comes in and it looks like it's really full of weeds. And that's not what we agreed to. We agreed to a high quality hay and it does not look like what we decided to purchase on. Having that right of refusal is going to be really important. And the last thing on the side of invasives is it's not always plants either. We can bring in alfalfa weevil onto our place. We can bring in things like if we're getting, really down into the southern part of the states, bring fire ants up sometimes. Those won't necessarily last a long time up here in our cold winters, but if we have them protected in hay, if we have a mild winter, they might be able to survive throughout the summer and then, die off next year, and that's just something that we're going to have to deal with. There's even cases where we've brought rats onto our operation that we haven't had before, have come in on a load of hay. So keeping an eye out for any unwanted, animal species is important as well.
As important as hay testing is before or after purchase, there are several other aspects for producers to consider.
Hopefully producers have a good idea of how much hay they need this year and have purchased what they are able to or what they need so far. It's always a good idea to have a good stock of your inventory. Again, doing hay tests on what you have, what you've produced, what you've brought on, so that way you can develop a plan how you're going to best utilize that in your feed rotation and make sure that we're getting the most out of it, especially this year where hay's tight and it's really pricey. We need to make sure that we're utilizing the best that we can in our operation.
Hay tests, a good inventory of hay on hand as well as what's needed, and a utilization plan are all important considerations when purchasing hay for feed. Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Mike Straub.
Welcome to Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. Whether you're a wine enthusiast, a whiskey sommelier, a tequila connoisseur, or you just love your beer, Kelly's has the best selection of what you're looking for. Family owned and operated since 1946 and right on 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Come see us today at Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. And remember to be a good neighbor. Don't drink and drive. Kelly's Liquor, West 27th Street in Scottsbluff.
Life is crazy. Pain is stressful. How can anybody concentrate with these busy schedules? Now you can. This is Ben Moravec coming to you from Hydrozen, a float therapy business right here in Scottsbluff. I'm here today to let you know we now have memberships for $49 monthly. You can guarantee yourself at least one float per month. You know how floating keeps your muscles relaxed, your joints relieved, and your brain clear to think? Now you can float at a reduced rate each month. Inquire today at hydrozenfloat.com or call us at 308-63-FLOAT. Hydrozen. Unplug and recharge.
Let's take a look at your community calendar, brought to you by Riverstone Bank. The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. We're local and we love our community.
Better sleep and better health can be found at Western Sleep Medicine in Gering. Since 2006, Western Sleep Medicine has offered the lowest cost sleep testing, either in their independent sleep laboratory or the privacy of your own home. You have control over your health care and your out-of-pocket cost. All insurance is accepted for a much lower cost than the regional option. If you need a sleep study, ask for Western Sleep Medicine. They've helped thousands of people over the years and want to help you. Western Sleep Medicine. Better sleep, better health.
And finally tonight, Nebraska Game and Parks officials say visitors will enjoy more than $1 million of recent upgrades to Panhandle State Park and recreation areas this summer. At Fort Robinson, the equestrian campground expansion is expected to be complete for visitors this spring. along with an outdoor 30-pen horse stall enclosure and renovated mare barn. Chadron State Park visitors will find changes, including upgraded campsites with 50-amp service and 2 cabins that received major repairs. Box Butte Reservoir added 20 new campsites and installed a new shower house, while Lake Minnetonka has 2 new fish cleaning stations, and Bridgeport State Recreation Area will receive 2 new vault toilets. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe out there. We'll see you here next time.